The medical community is now joining in on the fight against racial injustice. My co-anchor Heather Crawford joining us now for a look at their movement called White Coats for Black Lives. Heather.
That's right, Anthony. Medical staff came out today in solidarity to join in on those protests. They gathered together at Riverside Memorial Park and at Nemours Children's Specialty Care for a moment of silence. Eliza Powell is on your side tonight, sharing the message they hope to get out.
This afternoon, dozens of doctors knelt in their white coats in solidarity against racism and health inequality.
We can't just keep sitting on the sidelines.
Dr. Adriana Cantville is a pediatrician with UF Health. She and her coworkers took a knee as a call to action for the pain the country is suffering over continued police brutality towards African Americans.
As a physician, we are entrusted with caring for people and with healing.
I just wanted to thank everybody for doing this.
The movement, called White Coats for Black Lives, is particularly important to Dr. Cantville, who has faced her own racism as a Hispanic female. But even she knows that comes with some privileges.
But I get the benefit of the doubt because of the color of my skin.
Something she wants to change. By taking a knee today, she and other physicians want to spread the message that there needs to be equality in all aspects of life.
With the outpouring of support given to frontline workers during the coronavirus, these doctors wanted to come together to show their compassion and support for African Americans during this time of unrest. In Jacksonville, Eliza Powell, First Coast News, on your side.